more than we needed.
She's an A-class student. And with that A-class answer, we'll go for a break. When we return, we'll find out the scores for round 2 and we'll move on to round 3 to wrap up the episode for today. Welcome to round 3. Round 3 is our thematic round. Now, in this round, we choose one of our good life themes. There are 10 questions in all to be answered. But first, let's take the scores for round 2. And as is the tradition here, round 2, the weakest contestant is automatically evicted. So, Gerhard, congratulations. Please put your hands together for Gerhard. Now it's Solomon and Sophia, double S. Let's find out which one of them wins. Are you ready, guys? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Good. Now, Solomon, I begin with you. Round 3, question 1. At what stage during pregnancy should a woman begin her antenatal care?
Immediately she finds out she's pregnant.
Immediately she finds out she's pregnant, and that's correct. Sophia, how often should a woman go for antenatal care during her pregnancy? How often?
As often as her doctor tells her.
As often as a doctor tells her?
Yeah.
Can you think around a number? A number of times?
Antenatal.
Yes.
3 times.
3 times. 3 times is not correct. It's 4 times. As often as a doctor tells her. Dr. Margaret?
As soon as the woman suspects that she's pregnant, she needs to see her healthcare provider. She needs to go to the antenatal clinic so that her healthcare provider will find out if indeed she's pregnant. And if she is, he or she would have to schedule for her some visits to do. But for every pregnant woman, it is expected that at least she should have 4 visits to the clinic before her delivery date. At least 4, but it usually exceeds 4.
So in this case, Sophia said that as her doctor will prescribe, and then when I pressed further, she said 3. Should we be generous enough to give her 1 mark out of the whole lot?
Yes, we will give her 1 out of 3.
All right. So Sophia gets 1 out of 3. Pasolo, why does the pregnant woman receive a full examination during the first antenatal visit?
No idea.
No idea. Well, it's to check if she has any problems that may affect the unborn baby or the pregnancy, and also to determine the time of her delivery. Dr. Margaret, you want to throw some more light here?
Yes, it's important to have a full examination on your first visit because, like I explained earlier, the doctor will be able to find out whether indeed you are pregnant, how old your pregnancy is, so that this will guide him or her as to determine your date of delivery. Again, he or she will be able to find out whether you have any other existing medical conditions that may have adverse effects on the baby and the pregnancy. For instance, if you are diabetic and you didn't know before you got pregnant, what if you are hypertensive and you didn't even know before you got pregnant? So all these things will be investigated, and then your pregnancy will be managed better for you.
Thank you very much. So Solomon gets nothing in this case. So far, why are blood and urine tests part of antenatal care? Why?
How rich, or like if you have anemia, the blood tests, for the blood test, and the urine, if any disease, you have any disease that will affect the child.
I am so confused at this point. Doctor,
At least I heard her mention anemia. And it's one of the reasons why a blood test will be ordered for the pregnant woman. You want to know what her levels are before and then during the course of pregnancy. Again, you can look out for other diseases like HIV, for instance. If a mother is HIV positive, what are the plans for the mother and the baby? You need to put on medication, you need to counsel her. Urine test will also help us to know about the state of the pregnancy and the baby as well. Certain conditions during pregnancy give certain signs and symptoms in urine that you can pick up. So all these things help in the management of the pregnancy.
So, because she mentioned anemia, does she get anything at all?
Yes, she should get something.
Like 1?
Yes, out of 3.
Pasolo, at what age is the baby expected to be given immunization against measles and yellow fever? A, 1 year. B, 9 months. C, 1.5 years.
9 months.
9 months is correct. Sophia, name any 3 signs of illness in a child that needs immediate attention from a health worker. Name any 3 signs of illness in a child that needs immediate attention from a health worker.
When the baby's temperature is high, too much vomiting, and when the baby cries, after you've done everything.
After you've done everything. When the baby cries and after you've done everything. Dr. Margaret, she said when the baby's temperature is high, too much vomiting. When the baby cries after you've done everything.
Well, yes, she gave us 2, a very high temperature and then too much vomiting. If a child is vomiting so very often, that child is at risk of dehydration, and so he or she needs to see the health worker immediately. Also, if a child has difficulty in breathing, if a child is weak, a child is unable to drink or breastfeed, a child who was previously walking is now so ill that is not even able to sit up, you need to see the health worker immediately. So she gets 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3 for Sophia. Thank you, Dr. Solomon. How many times per day should a child be breastfed during the first 6 months?
6 times.
6 times, no. It's as often as they want, and it's at least 8 times in 24 hours. That's day and night. Dr. Margaret, why is that so?
Yes, the baby needs to grow, and the period of most rapid growth is in the first year of life. So you are advised to breastfeed the baby as often as the baby wants. That means feeding on demand during the day and the night as well. So if you are feeding, let's say, every 3 hours in a 24-hour period, it makes 8 times. And that's why the answer said 8 times.
Sophia, your question, right? At what age should your child be introduced to solid foods in addition to breastfeeding? At what age?
6 months.
6 months, that's correct. Solomon, the baby can be given water and juices together with breast milk in the first 6 months. True or false?
False.
False, that's correct. And you should give the baby nothing but breast milk in the first 6 months. The last one for you in this round. Sophia, at what age is the baby expected to be given first dose of immunization against DPT? A, at birth. B, 6 weeks old. C, 10 weeks old.
6 weeks.
6 weeks. That's correct. Thank you very much. And that brings us to the end of round 3. This is the only show now in Ghana that educates you, entertains you, informs you, and even better, elevates you to choose and enjoy your good lives. Our contestants have battled their heads off, and at the end of round 3, we have Solomon and Sophia standing. One of them has won 1,000 Ghana cedis. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Solomon? Is it going to be Solomon? Is it going to be Sophia? Yes! You're saying yes for both of them. Is it going to be Solomon? No! Sophia? Yes! You guys are confused already. But we have the scores. Shall we see it now?
The winner for the Good Life Game Show wins 1,000 Ghana cedis cash. Runners-up and other contestants on the show win Good Life hampers
and mobile phones.
Good Life. Live it well.
Honorably. A round of applause for him. Sophia, congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you surprised?
Very.
You're very surprised?
Yeah.
On a scale of 0 to 100, how surprised are you?
99.
99.9.
It's like a dream.
It's time to go on. What do I leave you with? I tell you what, whenever you think you are pregnant or as soon as you realize that you're pregnant, rush to the hospital, get antenatal care. If your child needs immunization or when they get to the time that they need immunization, give them immunization. And we must encourage exclusive breastfeeding. Oftentimes what happens is that people around the breastfeeding mothers discourage them from breastfeeding their children for 6 months. You must actually encourage the people to breastfeed and make sure that you eat healthy. Until next week when we meet again, my name is Johnny Hughes, the Bonafide Genius. But please, please, please remember that your good life goes with your good health. And only you. Yes, you have the single obligation to live it well. Think about it and enjoy. Good night.
This program was brought to you by the Ghana Health Service, BCS Project and USAID.